Time to do a stage 1 upgrade to that beauty. What I have here is 2 different kits. So I've got jets here and the tube, I forget what it's called. And then that's gonna go to this bike. And then this will go to that one. So what brand? Yamamoto. So I don't know. But anyways, air intake, we've got everything we need. All right, I've got the fuel switch off. We're gonna take these little nuts off, get both of them started here. Pretty even pressure. I don't wanna do one and then the other. So let's do them both equally here. Oh, there we go. So next, pull that over. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this off. Why not? You know, I'll do what I want. All right. Now, try not to scratch the paint. There's that beautiful filter, wing nut. Take that off. There you go, slide her up. Take the Phillips head, lefty-loosey. Pops right off. Sweet. Mr. Needle Nose here. We're gonna have to get this little clamp right there, just barely visible. And we're gonna have to slide that hose off. Although, what you could do is just cut it. So that's actually what I might do. Do not cut this one right here, because that's the gas line. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut her. So later on, you might want to invest in a small air filter for this hose. It basically allows air to seep into the tank so that the engine isn't starved of fuel. So I'm gonna cut it a little bit lower. There we go, one-handed. And that just looks like that, has a sleeve over it. So now what we need to do is just try to get this little cover off here on the carburetor. But before you do that, there is a hose going from the air intake to the overhead valves. It's kind of thick rubber. You need to cut that, and I would suggest putting an air filter over that later on too. And for that, I'm gonna use a more precise cutting tool here, Mr. Pinch Snips. So, there we go. And I've still got a little bit that's attached. I'm just gonna rip it apart. Look at that. So that's what the car looks like. And then this is the OEM plastics here. So now what we're after is, we don't need these. Is this right here. And that will slide on right here. All right, while we're at it, let's get the bowl off. So I'd like to just go gentle and take my time with this. So I just kind of hit the engine there, but it is loose. There we go. So a little bit of gas is going to fall, and I need to remove my filter down there. So I would suggest, if you're doing this in a building with any sort of ignition source, that you shut it off, like a furnace or something, just in case shit hits the fan scenario. So there you go. We're gonna rejet. It's gonna be this little silver tube here. It's gonna be up in there. We just need a flathead screwdriver that's preferably shorter and more narrow, not huge, just pretty small. So now we take Mr. Screwdriver, shove it in that hole. That's what she said. Oh, there we go. Try to get a feel for it here and then start twisting. I've got it in place, so it feels like it's giving. So go ahead and just keep carefully turning. All right, here we go. I've got it to the point now where it wants to slide out. So come on, little guy, I just saw ya. There you go. They both just fell out. So keep those for later in case you need them. Here's the emulsion tube. And then here's the jet. These are both the stock parts. Right here is the new parts here that came with this particular kit. You've got many different heads to choose from. I'm gonna go for the big boy, the biggest one that came with the kit here. And there is the marking on the side, 3/8. Perfect, this is what I need. This is how it's gonna look when it gets slid back into the tube. So this will be the orientation. This is up here. and down. So that's what it should look like. And then I'll show you that obviously you've got the flathead notch there to use a screwdriver, so that would be down, and then this would be the top part facing up. So the emulsion tube, same thing. You want the pointy part facing up and the flat part that's wider facing down. All right, here we go. And then if I can get my hands to work right, I'm gonna keep that right there. I'm gonna grab my flathead really quick, and then we're gonna turn the screwdriver the opposite way. I need to find the notch here. So feels like it's definitely turning. Oh yeah. All right, and keep going until you hit a wall, and then you can stop. You don't want to overdo it because you might blow up everything, and then you'll be screwed. Now, of course, that was a joke. I don't want you stripping everything. All right, next part here, we're gonna take that and orient it just like that. So this is a 7 mil bolt. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it right here into this little small hole. I like to finger tighten things as much as possible so that we're not stripping bolts. And here we go. Good hand workout. Voila! I just have a little bit of play here. So what is this even for? It's for the choke handle here. So this little round hole right there will sit nicely on top to keep this in place, because guess what? It wants to pop off. You could lose it somewhere and you'd never find it again. Now, as for the stock Predator seal, I don't like it. It's extremely flimsy, and it's just like paper basically. So they gave us a much denser rubber gasket here. So I'm gonna line that up here, just like that. So this is much higher quality. I'd suggest doing that if you can get away with it. And I'll slide that back on. So I'm gonna push this down, make sure it is secured on that little choke handle there. And now we can start to thread the nuts back on. Now this can be tricky. I've had problems in the past where I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest, and I ended up breaking the carburetor studs and having to order new ones. So what I'd suggest is just taking your time and don't get reckless with the install, because too much tension in these two studs can snap in half. So this is what I personally like to do, is just finger thread to where it's almost snug, and then get the second bolt on so that we're not doing one side unevenly versus the other. So we don't want unevenness and the pressure and the tension on the bolts here. That could be really bad. So there's a little small gap between the nut and the metal cylinder here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the second one on. Now, if you're wondering, if you break a carburetor stud, this kit comes with 2, so you're very lucky. The original kit I bought years ago did not, and I had to wait longer. So there you go. I've got both nuts on, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish the task here. Get this one finger threaded, and then we'll tighten it some more. So there you go. It's almost there. Oh, now it's hitting the wall. Good, good, good. And then let's get this one to that wall. Now we'll do the final tightening here. So I'm just gonna go gentle, just to where it's snug. I don't want Gorilla tight. That one is very tight. This one, let's see. It has a little bit more play in it. I'm just gonna go super slow here. All right, it's hit a wall, so that's good. It's pretty dang tight. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double it up, and let's see if we can get away with that. I just like to double things up. I don't know why, I'm just weird. So I don't wanna get rid of these bolts, they're too nice. Figured I'd just reuse them here. So get that one on, and this one. And you don't really have to go nuts with these, just to where they're slightly snug. Oh, that's pretty good right there. So this one too, right about there is where I'm hitting the wall. All right, we got this beautiful air filter here. you're going to want to slide the metal ring tightener here. I don't know the terms, folks. All I know is how to use them. So I am no professional mechanic. I'm a noob in some ways, but that's how it goes on. You want to orient the screw the way you want it to go on your particular bike. I like it this way, so we'll go ahead and tighten her down. All right, tighten her up. All right, and a couple more things to check. You want to make sure that this is tight, which it is in my case. And the second thing is your idle screw here. You may have to adjust the idle now that you've changed the air intake setup, so be prepared for that. I'd recommend a short little Phillips head screwdriver, like this little guy, and turn on your bike, get a feel for it, let it warm up a little while, and then if you think it's idling too high or too low, depending on your case, adjust the screw up or down and get it to where you like it. Make sure the bike's not rolling away as it's sitting. And then the other thing is, make sure the fuel valve is back on. That was an absolutely goofy mistake. I don't know how I missed the bowl, but that's an easy fix. So that was actually kind of funny to watch and witness. So this is a drainage screw here. If you ever need to drain the old gas out of the bowl, you just undo it and you don't have to take the whole bowl off. So I like to orientate it basically towards the user if they ever need to do work on the engine. Now with the bowl screw, you're going to make sure you have that little rubber gasket on there. It helps prevent leaking. All right, behold the gas. Nothing good. It's sealed. Switch on, other switch on. All right, choke good. I'm gonna hold the brake here. That was perfect. So it worked out. My upgrade is complete on this bike. Turned out A-okay. Now it's time for this kit. Same company, it's just that they sell this as an individual kit here. And all we gotta do is just remove the bowl and slide her in, reattach the bowl, and we're good to go. I have the fuel off, so this will be much easier. I've already removed the jet and the emulsion tube days ago, so we're ready to go. There we go. Still got the seal, good, good, good. There's 3/8. All right, so I zipped off the hydraulic brake line to give me more room to work. Shove it up in there. Now we twist and turn. There we go. All right, here we go. So switch on, choke, and here we go.
It's definitely a lot more responsive. The throttle and everything feels a lot better with the new jet. So this is definitely a win. A lot better throttle there.